Welcome back.
Exciting stuff.
Sony came in with their ball, shook the world.
I haven't shown you since I got it. I haven't shown it in a video. I love him. Please let me. I don't want to say it.
Sicko. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the Sony conference that happened yesterday. And so there was quite a few things. Better stop touching those titties. Should we start off with the big one, or should we save that?
What's the big one? Oh, right, yeah. No, we should save it for last, because that's how they ended. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Metal Gear Solid, the remake for Snake Eater.
We're going to that first. Okay.
Yeah, why not? I think it's a big one. That's a big one in terms of remakes.
You know, this is definitely an age of remakes and remasters in the industry. And, you know, I think that if older games can be remade into a more modern engine with better modernized gameplay, I'm honestly for that. You know, I thought Metal Gear Solid 3, for what it did for the industry at the time, was pretty significant. You know, I mean, like, its issues aside, it still had a compelling story. It had a lot of interesting original ideas with its boss fights, which I still think hold up today. And if you take, you know, say like something like the Metal Gear Solid 5 engine, the Fox engine, and you put it into Metal Gear Solid 3, which is now Metal Gear Solid Delta, weirdly enough, and you modernize that gameplay and you make it better and make it more like an actual survival game, I think that'd be fucking awesome. So I'm excited for it.
I think I'm intrigued. You know, I'm intrigued what we're gonna do. A little worried, no Kojima. At the same time, Kojima's a little bit of a wild bucket case of baskets, and
he's amazing. I love him.
I was like,
I can't wait for Death Stranding. Yeah, I can't wait for Death Stranding 2. Like, I mean, Death Stranding 2. I mean, I have strong feelings about Death Stranding 1, as you know.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think it's necessarily a great game, but boy, it's fun to play.
It's a solid mess of poo. But yeah, on top of that, they did.
Plus, I am so excited for this to kind of like move on to the next thing, but I'm really excited for it. You know, I hope Hader returns to voice Snake, because it would be weird if it wasn't.
Was he in the last one?
No, he didn't do 5. That was Kiefer Sutherland, which was
Kiefer Sutherland. Who the fuck?
But also, that wasn't Snake. That was Big Boss. But nonetheless, I mean,
we know.
I would like to see him, you know, come back. I think he will. I mean, like, what the fuck is David Hayter doing these days?
Hey, David Hayter is fucking amazing.
No, he is amazing, but not to discredit the guy's career, but like, it's probably his biggest role he's ever done, and like, I definitely see them bringing him back. So,
excuse me, he was the Guyver in Guyver 2, and he was amazing. I love that.
I've never even seen that.
It's really good.
The only movie I've seen him in was fucking X-Men 1. He played the guard that found fucking...
well, he's the writer of X-Men 2.
He also is. Yeah, I mean, he's a great writer and a great voice actor. You know, a non-screen actor.
Snake. Okay, so let's move on. We got a lot to do. Okay. So real fast, let's talk about... PlayStation announced dedicated gaming streaming device, which is the Project Q. I'm semi-optimistic. If it's $200, I might buy it down the line. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
It's a cool idea for people like yourself that are dads that can't usually play their PlayStation games they want to play on their TVs in their house. But for someone like me who a single man, just as a girlfriend with no kids, and I have a PlayStation right in front of me on my TV, it's pretty much useless.
So yeah, it's a cool device. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I need the price point. That's the big thing. All right, let's move on to Assassin's Creed.
You're rushing.
Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Looks fantastic. I can't wait for it.
Looks all right.
Comes out October 12th. Are you serious? That's all you're gonna say on it?
Yeah, looks okay. The combat looks the same. The finishers look cool, and
it looks beautiful.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't even really comment ever on Ubisoft's games when it comes to graphics, because they always look really good. I don't care what anyone says; they look good.
Technical glitches aside.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's open world. If your game is open world and it doesn't have technical glitches, that usually I never played a game, not a single game that has open world that didn't have technical glitches. My favorites of all time, Witcher and all that. But anyway, it looks pretty cool.
I'm excited for it, and like I'm interested to hear more about the Assassin's Creed 1 remake that they're supposed to be doing. They've been really quiet on that, so I'm hoping that that is still coming. I'd really like to see that. But I think Mirage looks great. It's probably the first Assassin's Creed game I've been excited about in a really long time because it is going back to that original format but modernized. I think the combat looks great. I think the story could be compelling. I thought Bassam, as absent as he pretty much was from Valhalla, with the exception of a few scenes, he seems like an interesting character, and his master seems really interesting too. I think Baghdad will be an interesting place to explore in that time period. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited for it, and I can't wait to check it out.
All right, so then just a week later, Alan Wake 2. Um,
Yep.
not the hugest fan of Alan Wake 1, if I'm being honest. I think
I
it's
think
a
I liked it
good
more than
game.
you. Yeah, but I think we're both kind of like middle of the ground with it.
Yeah, I think it just had a lot of like moments of momentum, which is like stripped from me. Like playing the game, there's great moments, and then it was just boring.
Yeah,
And the
it was
story
it
was
was the
all over the
pacing.
place.
The pacing was very janky.
Yeah, whereas this one, the trailer made it look very, very anxious and like
Yeah.
going through places slow and then things smashing through doors and stuff. That I'm
and
excited
you're
for.
and you're playing as another character. I think you're playing a detective that's like tracking down Alan or something like that.
Yeah,
I
it's
forgot her name, but I mean that seems pretty cool. I mean, and not just that. I think it definitely looks scarier than one. Like I was looking at
yes,
some of the creatures. Like it looks like I'm like, wow, this looks like a legitimate survival horror game. Whereas I feel like Alan Wake One wasn't really scary. This definitely looks like they're leaning more into like that psychological horror element of it.
yeah.
And not just that, I have to say, game looks fucking phenomenal.
Oh,
Like,
look wise, yeah, it's
I mean, like Remedy pretty much showed that with Control. I mean,
yeah.
they're some of the kings in the industry when it comes to just fidelity as a whole. So I mean, like it looks on the verge of realism. I'm sure it's an Unreal Engine 5. I could be wrong. It could be their Control engine, but it looks fucking fantastic.
Next up, we have a game that's coming out in just a few weeks, and I'm very excited for Final Fantasy 16, the
Me too.
first M-rated Final Fantasy, and or at least in the main series. And I am super excited for this. I don't have much to say about the trailer. Trailer was cool, but now in my point of like watching these trailers for Final Fantasy, I've been like skipping ahead and stuff because I
Yep.
want to be like surprised as possible. But combat looks great. The story looks really interesting. The graphics are phenomenal.
Yeah, they really are.
Phenomenal. If they were, I'm loving that they're going that dark fantasy setting. I think it's something nice and fresh. Yeah, it's just this game. This is my game of the year or most excited game of the year for me. So I'm hoping it lives up. And there's another game that is right behind it, but this game just, I think because I haven't played a Final Fantasy since 15 for the main series. And when was
Um,
that? 2016?
2015, I think. No,
Yeah,
no, no, no. It was yeah, it was 2016.
16. I mean, this is fucking almost, what was that, 8 years, 7 years? It's been a long time.
Almost 7 years since the
That's
last main
crazy.
entry in Final Fantasy. Yep.
So, very excited. I
If
can't
I
wait for that one.
Amy said she's like, stop calling it final already.
That's what it is, Final Fantasy.
No, she's saying like for the series as a whole, she's
Uh,
like,
uh,
stop calling it final because there's so many of
well, you
them.
know what the story behind that is, right? It's so crazy that
I
Square
don't.
Enix.
I actually never realized why it's called Final
Oh,
Fantasy.
so it was Square Enix was going to close down, or Square, whatever they were called before Enix, but they were going to close down their company because they couldn't make a profit, and this was going to be their final game, Final Fantasy. Um,
Really?
but it
That's
was
really cool.
so profitable that they're like, "Oh
It
shit, we got
saved
to make
them.
Final Fantasy 2." And so they just kept going with the name, which is kind of crazy, but
That's
yeah,
wild. I actually didn't know that. That's cool though. I mean, it pretty much saved Square as a whole,
yeah.
for better or worse, the shit they've put out the last few years. But
Uh,
I'm
100.
I'm looking forward to 16. I can't wait for it. Diablo 4 comes out next week too. I'm very excited. Well, if you have the early access like I did, so I'm gonna.
Oh,
Yeah,
fancy.
yeah, I paid
Yeah,
$100 for it. Ooh.
yeah. Oh, $100. What the fuck? Let's move on to one that was a little surprising, maybe because I just didn't hear about it for years that they were making it, but Dragon's Dogma 2. Um,
Very
it
surprising. That was definitely a surprise for me.
it looks like Dragon's Dogma 1, but looks exactly like 1, just more. So as long as they put fast travel in though, and they make a much better story because that story sucked balls, I will definitely be down to at least trying it. I liked climbing on monsters and like nipple
Yeah.
fucking them, like taking the
Oh,
sword and Yeah, you get up on that nipple. You,
Just
hey,
do the little
nipple.
stabby. Yeah.
I like fucking
That was
Shadow.
definitely the best part of the game is riding
Oh,
monsters
hell
and
yeah. I
you
love
know.
riding monsters. Mm.
Oh boy. Yeah, like I mean, I'm just kind of looking at the trailers. Yeah, so I mean, Dragon Dogma 2 looks great. I think a modernized Dragon's Dogma sounds great to me because my issue was that I feel like I didn't like that there was no fast travel. I feel like the movement kind of sucked, and I feel like the combat was relatively basic. So I think a modernized Dragon's Dogma with better combat, and just something that looks better and plays better. Like I'm sign me up for that. Like I like the world of Dragon's Dogma. I
Yeah,
just never really could
it's
get into it as a whole because I feel like it had too many technical issues and it was limited by the tech at the time.
that was at Xbox 360, right? And all that
Yeah,
trailer. Yeah.
360 and PS3
Yeah.
game.
Definitely was limited from the technology, and it's a cool game. I don't dislike it. I think I gave it like a 6.5 or 7 when I reviewed it on here, but
Yep.
it's fun. But let's talk about a game that looks much more fun. Plant, Phantom, Phantom,
Phantom Blade Zero.
Phantom.
You give me a fucking cool game like Phantom Blade Zero. I mean, if you're looking at the gameplay now, I mean, this game looks sick as shit.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
it kind of has like a mixture between like old school feel and like steampunk and just
Yeah.
something a little bit different.
It's
Kind of
kind of
like
like it's
fast
like
paced.
yeah, it
Ghost.
reminds me of like Ghost mixed with like
Yeah,
Black Desert.
yeah,
You know, like they're very similar in that sense, but you know, it looks interesting. You know, it really looks interesting. I mean, like I'm really excited for it.
yeah.
So,
Let's see.
yeah,
Sita.
Big Mamacita. Yeah.
Okay, Spider-Man 2. Now you know me. I love Spider-Man 1. It's one of the
As
only
do I.
games I think I've replayed more than I think it's like 4 times if I count the
Shit.
remastered. Because
I've never even played the remastered. I
oh,
started it,
so
but I
good,
didn't play it. Yeah.
so good. Yeah,
I played through the base game twice, and I did love it.
yeah, the game it's amazing. And then Miles, I absolutely love too.
Yeah.
So when they announced 2, I was excited. When they showed that, all teaser trailer last year or whatever, cool. This we actually get to see not only the gameplay, we get to see kind of what the idea is, which we figured Craven would be a
Craven.
centerpiece. He's
Yep.
pretty fucking scary in this.
Yeah,
Um,
dude's fucking huge.
yeah, monstrous.
Yeah.
And I love the fact he has like a whole unit of people now. Mostly that's just to kind of, fight bad people. But the idea that he has like robotic dogs to help hunt him, that they have all these different machinery to take Spider-Man down, but then also try to capture him with nets and stuff. Like all of this is exciting. Stop calling me
While he's also trying to capture Lizard.
kind of the hunter this time. He's coming after Spider-Man. It looks like he's going after different other people, like the Lizard. I saw on there Miles. I saw on there Doc Ock. I also saw on there a couple of other Wrath, which is crazy. I don't. You probably don't know this because she's not a major character, but remember the detective in the first game? She,
Yumi?
uh,
What's her name?
something like that. She
No.
is actually the a vigilante like character in the comics who becomes Wraith or Wrath, something like
I
that.
saw that when Craven, like when his guy brought him up like the fucking like little
Yeah,
tablet, and
yeah,
they showed Wraith on there. I'm like, who the hell is Wraith?
yeah. She's that character, so I'm interested to see how she became that
Hmm.
because that did
Hmm.
not happen as far as I know in the last game.
Well, she definitely had like a vigilante mindset
Yeah,
in the Spider-Man game. She was definitely veering off from like
yeah.
like traditional detective work,
Well,
so
she was
that would
working
make
with
sense.
Spider-Man, so
Yeah,
right
exactly.
there is not on the books. But yeah, so really excited to kind of see Craven in here. I'm excited how we're gonna get Eddie because he was
Yep.
or if it's Eddie, because no, it wasn't Eddie in the
No,
last
it's Harry this time. Harry's
Harry,
Venom.
but I assume Eddie's going to be in this because of the voice actor said that he's in this. So it's so many elements, so many villains. But if there's any game that I trust, it is Spider-Man, as they had a lot of villains in the last game, and they all got some really great moments. And I'm really excited to see how the Spider-Man dynamic works with both of them. Can you switch on and off in the open world like you do in that
Yeah,
scene?
I would assume you can.
Kind of like Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah.
switching on and off. Also, I love the new glider that Miles has. The new powers from Peter is
Yeah,
crazy.
I just looked it up on Insomniac's Instagram. They're calling it the web wings.
The web wings, yeah, that makes sense because
It's
they're
pretty cool.
underneath his hand. So when he does
Yeah, it's
that,
like a wingsuit. I think
yeah,
that's a really cool idea to
yeah,
keep your momentum going. Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing is Spider-Man had those little things under it to keep that going, but I haven't seen that in years in the comics, like to use that. So it was kind of cool to see here. And we got the famous Spider-Man 2 webbing and then shooting off from
Oh, the
Miles.
slingshot shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
super cool. Like a lot of great callbacks, a lot of great
Yep,
elements. The lizard looks horrifying. My wife kept
looks great.
going, "Is that Godzilla?" I said, "It looks like Godzilla."
You might as well be. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, I'm this is the game
Oh,
I'm
we
most
didn't.
excited for.
I have to say, if I can, I still need to finish Miles Morales. Don't get upset. I'm actually planning on doing that, but that fucking like some of Miles's new fucking combat, like when you did that electric teleportation punch, I was
Yep.
like, what the fuck? Like just like the effects on it and
Yeah.
everything looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, this looks fucking amazing. Like I
Yeah.
honestly can't wait to like, even like when Peter, like when they shared the first section and like he took his fucking symbiote tendrils and like pulled those four guys together and
And then
slammed them
slammed
down.
him.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I was
Yeah.
like, that's pretty awesome. That's
It's
pretty
going to be
awesome.
a nice mix of, I think what they're going to give is a lot of Miles combat is going to feel like the first game, but better.
Yep.
And Peter's is a lot more brand new, more hard hitting, more grabbing and
Brawly.
throwing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very, very interested to see how this game goes. I am
Yeah.
super excited.
I'm excited for it too. I'm curious if they're going to have some surprises in it in the case of I really, really, really would love to see Insomniac do just like something with Venom in terms of gameplay. Like I would, if maybe like just for like a few like story missions, I'd really love to see them do something like that. I don't know if they will, but I think I'm dying to see what they can do with like Venom. Like if
Well,
they
I
can put
think
Venom in some capacity in gameplay, I think that would be amazing.
Well, you're gonna have him with the black suit, and at times it doesn't happen often. At times, he does become a full-on Venom creature with Peter not in
Really, I didn't
control.
know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so it would be cool to kind of have those gameplay sections as it gets nearer for the suit to come off. That he's losing so much control that you play as that like the hulking Venom that can
Yeah,
like grab
that's what I
people and
want.
throws and shit. And I think it would be cool to play that and you have such like an over like
Yeah,
all this power, and then the suit comes off, and then you have to fight Venom, and then
yeah,
you
like
actually feel that
Spider-Man
pull.
3. Yeah,
Yeah, like that would be horrifying to be this
yep,
strong creature that just dominating, and then the suit comes off, and then that's the next boss fight. Like he comes out from the ground as Venom, and you're like,
yeah.
oh shit, and then you're
I'm totally down for that. Like Spider-Man 3, as much problems as it had, I still thought that was really cool to
yeah.
like in that movie with. Yeah, so I would honestly I would really love to see like some legitimate like Venom gameplay. I think that would be really remarkable.
Overall, I know it was a pretty good
If
conference.
if I can say one thing I was disappointed by, um we still have not heard any news on the Last of Us multiplayer game standalone.
Oh yeah, what the fuck?
Um, that I think that makes sense. I don't think it's ready to be shown yet. I know that's what my boys are working on. I mean, it's
It's
no
been three
secret.
years.
It's no secret on this channel that I think Naughty Dog, is the best developer out there, in my opinion. I think that they exceed at doing single player games. I think that they are Sony's golden goose. Um, and I think that when this was announced, a standalone open world Last of Us experience, that's multiplayer, like that to me like sounded terrific and something I wanted since the first Last of Us came out, what, 10 years ago now. Um, we haven't heard anything on it since it was announced. My guess is they'll probably have another showcase later this year that will probably give us a little bit more info, if not early next year. But
Yeah,
I could definitely see this being like a next year release,
uh,
as a
yeah.
standalone thing in the summer. So I'm
I
really
think it would
looking
have
forward
to
to
be.
that. It has to be, it's definitely going to be a standalone paid release, I think. Or it could be, I hope it's not a free to play thing. Like if they do that and they riddle it with fucking microtransactions, that would be horrible. I don't think they're going to do that, but I think it's definitely going to be a standalone purchase. But
I don't mind that as long as the gameplay is as good as the online was in the first. Like if it doesn't affect the gameplay, if it's like microtransactions for fucking clothing and hair, and I don't
yeah,
care about that
if
shit.
it's cosmetics, that's fine. But I can't remember if they said if it was free to play or not.
Uh,
I'm drawing a blank on that, but that's probably if I want anything from Sony, that's what I want to hear about next. I want to hear about what's going on with that. I don't need a Last of Us 3. They only need to make a Last of Us 3. It's not necessary. I mean, Druckmann came out and said too after the show, like,
Only if he
if
finds it.
if there's another story that we want to tell about love, we'll tell it. But as of right now, we don't have plans, and we're sorely focused on the multiplayer standalone. So, Sony's making moves. I still think they're leading, this console war. I think Microsoft is dead last because when it comes to games to play on Xbox, those other games that they're releasing on Game Pass, you can play at other places. You can play them on PC, you can play them on PlayStation. A lot of those games you can play on Switch now.
Yeah.
So I really think that they're getting close to a point where like they are going to lose this, because you just paid $67 billion for Activision Blizzard. You're going to corner the market when it comes to that market, in terms of just Call of Duty and, like Diablo and things like that and all the Blizzard properties, but they need to do something.
Yeah, I'm excited. Good conference. Not great, but good.
It was. I thought if I had to rate, I'd say it was like like an 8. Like there was some good stuff, or maybe a 7. Like like there was a lot of good stuff that was shown, but I mean, there was with the VR stuff, and there was some indies that I thought looked boring, but there was also some cool ones like Neva. Neva is a follow up to Grease. That Cat Quest game looks pretty dumb, but also pretty fun. They're showing a lot of stuff they showed that didn't even have dates yet, but what they showed is like, look, we have games coming out, and then that's the biggest thing. Whereas Microsoft is, sitting there twiddling their thumbs, waiting for their fucking deal to be approved a year later. Like, I mean, it's like, I want to see what's next from Microsoft.
I think the thing with Microsoft too is honestly, since I think it was like 80% of these games were coming out of Microsoft too, if Microsoft announced them first, it would have been like, oh, look at all these games we got coming out.
That's the thing. A lot of them aren't still coming to Xbox.
Yeah, no, 80% are. Well, 80% of those games announced yesterday.
That fucking Instagram post I saw of theirs, it was only like 16 games.
Yeah, well, there were 21 games announced yesterday, so that's 80%. Yeah, you're making me question my math.
Oh, was it 21 new games? Oh, I apologize. Well, I was just thinking about every single game that was shown.
So. Yeah, I mean, of course, to me though, the biggest exciting ones that are coming out are the exclusives for PlayStation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Final Fantasy and Spider-Man. So anyway, Microsoft, fucking move shit.
Do something. Fucking do something.
I'm just interested to just see more games in general come. What did you guys think? Did you guys think that it was a pretty good showcase? What was the favorite game that you saw there? And I guess what games did you want to see? Like we were talking about Last of Us expansion. What games didn't you see there that you maybe know were coming out? I guess you could also pick games that you have, there's not been announced or anything that you want to see Sony eventually release. But yeah, list them below. Let us know. Oh God.
All
right, that's enough.